So, happy Pride Month! Family, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Danny. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button down below. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell because I have been kind of taking a little break from filming with summer vacation. So if you want to know when I'm posting, you're going to want to be notified. And if you're not already following me on Instagram, please be sure to do that. It is at _dancing_bookworm. I post on there full book reviews and bookish content. So I've been saying in a couple of my vlogs now that I wanted to film my coming out story, and I am finally getting a chance to do that because this month has been crazy. I am filming in my office, aka Chandler's bedroom, if you can tell by the cat tree, because I have about every fan in the world set up in my living room / bedroom, and it is just really loud out there with all the fans. But yes, Chandler has more access to this room than he does where I film otherwise, so I'm sorry if he's popping in and out of the video a lot. But yeah, so I wanted to just kind of film my coming out story because I talk about a lot of how I lived with a guy for 5 years, but I'm gay and non-binary and stuff like that, so people get a little confused. And I don't ever think it's anyone's business, but if my coming out story can help someone else, hello Chandler, then why not? Why not share that with people, as long as you're comfortable with it, and I am. So without further ado, here is my coming out story. So a lot of people don't know, I actually tried coming out for the first time when I was 14. So I was a freshman in high school, and I kind of came out to my friend, we were in a fight, and I was like, hey, I think the reason I'm so angry is I think I like girls. And she was kind of like, oh, and she was very Christian. She was my best friend. We're still good friends to this day, but she was very Christian at the time, and she was kind of like, I don't know how I feel about that, but you're my friend, so we'll figure it out, kind of thing. And I was like, okay, cool. And at the time I was going to her church. Now my parents were not religious. They were in a sense of they believed in God and heaven and stuff like that, but they weren't go to church every Sunday or say grace before a meal or anything like that, where my friend's family very much was those people. So it was kind of a just don't tell my parents kind of situation. And I was like, okay, that's fine. But I did still go to her church and stuff like that. So I actually had 3 girlfriends my freshman year of high school. And the first person I dated was a super sweet girl, but she was not liked by my friends, and through peer pressure and stuff, we dated 2 days, and I was like, okay, sorry, my friends don't like you, which was a horrible reason to break up with someone. So if you're young and you like someone, don't break up with them just because your friends say to, but everyone has their moments in high school, and that was mine. The second girl that I dated was very nice as well. All the girls that I dated were very sweet, but she was a lot further along in her coming out journey, but she was the one who kind of inspired me to tell my parents. So yeah, so that's kind of where the story starts-ish, I guess. So all my friends knew that I was gay, and they were fully on board, and I was part of the Gay Straight Alliance, and my parents knew that I was in the Gay Straight Alliance, but they thought I was there as an ally, which my parents were not homophobic. They just my dad was very old-fashioned. My dad was an older dad. He was 10 years older than my mom, so he was an older dad, and he was a country boy, so he didn't get things as quickly as other people. And this was the early 2000s, so I don't know, people are always oh, you guys had it so easy, at least it wasn't the 80s and stuff like that. No, but it still wasn't great. I'm a 90s baby, so late 90s, early 2000s when I started this journey, and I was kind of ugh, it had a really bad name to it. I remember at the time Lance Bass had come out and everyone was like, oh my god, not Lance Bass, they've taken him. And I was like, okay, like I had a crush on Lance Bass, so that explains that now. Like, I definitely, Lance Bass was my beard, my celebrity beard. And then like same thing with like Ellen DeGeneres. Like, she was out on like an adult platform, but when she did the voice of Dory, there was like a big like hoopla about it because Disney was allowing a gay actress to voice a character. So yeah, so and my town was kind of like a mix between city and country. Like there was like we were right on a border between like a city and a country like atmosphere. So my dad grew up in the countryside of it. My mom kind of grew up in like a suburbia situation. But my dad grew up in like the countryside of it. So he was not very like understanding. Like he wasn't like against it. I had a gay best friend growing up, and he was very much like, oh, he's such a good kid and stuff like that. But he would say stuff like, oh, he's a good kid for being gay, like kind of stuff. So like he just didn't get it. And so I decided that I was dating this girl. I wanted my mom to know that I was dating her. And I told my friend in church that morning, I was like, hey, I'm going to come out to my mom tonight. And she was like, do you think that's a good idea? And I was like, yeah, I don't think my mom will have a problem with it. And it kind of took me by surprise that my mom did have a problem with it. So, if you guys are newish to my channel, both of my parents have passed away within the last couple years. But this is all stuff that got resolved later on in my life, like much later on. But I have no hard feelings for the situation or anything like that. Like, I definitely can like see like where like the open communication and stuff was not there. My mom had some undiagnosed mental health disorders, and my dad probably did too, honestly. So yeah, so like I don't have any hard feelings for it or anything, but it was definitely like one of those things where it's like I didn't think she would care, and she did. So basically, I like went home from church and I was like, hey, so you know this new friend that I have? We're dating. And she was like, no, you're not. And I was like, yeah, I am. And she was like, no, you're not. And I was like, well, I am. And she was like, ugh, I'm never going to have grandchildren. I can't believe you're doing this to me. And I was like, I did not expect that answer. I really thought she was going to be like the cool mom that was like, oh, okay, whatever. And she was just kind of like took me by surprise. But at the same time, my brother was going through like some relationship stuff, and which is like his own private business and not mine to share. But like it was like a big thing that like impacted my family a lot. And then also, it was like a year after my grandma passed away, and I had already been like starting to show signs of mental health struggle. So like my mom just kind of like chalked it up to like it was like mental health stuff and like not an actual thing. And she was like, it's just because you only hang out with gay people, you just think you are, but you're not. And I was like, okay, um, okay. So I told the girl that I was dating at the time, and she was like, yeah, I can't date someone whose parents aren't like accepting or whatever. And I was like, okay. So like we broke up, and then I started dating another girl that I actually met at church. And she was like a very toxic person. Unfortunately, she is passed away now from having kind of a toxic lifestyle, but also like we stayed in touch through college, and just like we didn't like go about anything, like, but we just kind of like dated in like the high school sense of dating. But she was my first kiss, so I mean, but yeah, like I dated her, and then I had to date her in secret, and it was just like not something that I wanted, because I went to this church and I knew no one at the church was accepting of it. My like friend's sister was really upset that I was dating this girl and like wanted my friend to stop hanging out with me. I didn't want to get like banned from my friend's house or anything like that. So I just kind of said like, oh, I guess I was just confused. I guess I'm straight. And I did it by actually saying that I was in love with a gay guy. So, yeah, I like had a gay friend, and I was like, oh no, I'm in love with him. So, yeah, I can't be gay because I'm in love with him. And so I kind of just like for the rest of like high school and early college was like, nope, I'm straight. Like I'm straight. When I met my boyfriend, I met him my freshman year of college, and, well, not really freshman. So I went to a year of community college, but none of my credits transferred over to my state school for some reason. So I had to go to 4 years of state school. So I was actually in college for 5 years, but I don't count my like community college years as anything because it was literally just like it didn't count. So it was like my freshman year of the state school that I went to. So I was 19, and I had dated guys from like the time that I broke up with my girlfriend in ninth grade to, being 19. So I'd only dated guys from that point on. And when I came out to my boyfriend, I was like, yo, I'm bi. Just so you know. So, like, if that's a problem, like, and it was like the first time I had said it since coming out as gay in high school. But I was like, you know what? I know I'm at least this. So if you have a problem with me being bi, and he was like, no, it's fine. You can be bi. I don't care. So we dated for 5 years. I lived with him. We were very committed, and after about like the third year, I realized I wasn't happy. Like, I was like, I don't know why I'm in this relationship, because he also didn't seem happy. Like, we fought all the time. There was never a time when we were just like content with being with each other. And, sometimes things got physical, sometimes things were like not like we were very much tearing each other down, and like it wasn't just on his end, it was also on my end. So we just had a very toxic relationship, and I like couldn't figure out why I was so unhappy, and I was just miserable. So I started going to therapy, and while I was in therapy, I was like, hey, like all this stuff is happening, and my therapist was like, I think you're in an abusive relationship, and I was like, oof, not something you want to hear. But also my therapist at the time was like, but also, can we take a second to like talk about like, are you happy being with a guy? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I think I'm straight. I think I've like gotten to the point where I think maybe I was just confused as a kid. And she was like, are you sure? Because everything we've talked about, she's like, I'm not telling you to pick one way or another. She's like, you could be bi, you could be straight, you could be gay, I don't really care, but just like take a second and really think about this. And I was like, okay. So for about a good year, I was kind of like in this like limbo of like, no, I'm bi, I just prefer girls. But like, this is the one guy I would be with. And I would say it to like my friends and stuff like that, and they're like, so you're gay but you're dating a guy? And I'm like, no, 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 like I'm bi, but I'm dating a guy. Like I'm bi. And they're like, okay, sure. And I was just like very much in denial of like being gay. So on like the fifth year of dating this guy, I joined a Christian dance company, and this was a very, very, very strict Christian dance company. They very much did not want me living with my boyfriend unless we were getting married or married. And there were very strict rules about, like my sexuality, stuff like that. Just everything in general was very strict. And I really wanted to belong to this company because I, truth be told, had a crush on one of the girls in the company. But also because I was like, okay, like I really want to be a part of this company because dance was my life, and this was like my one chance to do it. Like I didn't have another opportunity. Like my knee was blown at that point already, and this was the only people that I could like work through my knee pain and not have to be on point if my knee hurt too bad and stuff like that. So it was like, I don't know, I very much wanted to be a dancer, and that was the price that I had to pay, was not being myself to achieve my dance dreams. So I ended up breaking up with my boyfriend for a couple reasons. One, we were very abusive, and I was very unhappy in the relationship. I feel like now that he can probably look back, he could probably also agree that he was unhappy in the relationship. I don't know, I haven't talked to him in 5 years, but I'm sure he was. But just very unhappy in the relationship, and also because secretly I knew I was gay, and I was like, I don't want to keep doing this. I don't want to like end up with a guy just because I think I'm supposed to, or because like I've been committed to him. Like, I don't want to be unhappy my whole life. So I left him, and I moved into a Christian boarding home, and I ended up having a couple more relationships with guys, like just like brief relationships with guys, just to kind of satisfy, because I think people could kind of tell, like, they're like, you're just not, like, quite normal. Like that's, like, not that being gay doesn't make you normal, but that was, like, their opinion of it. Like, they would kind of be like, oh, like, you are straight, right? Like, and, like, I would, like, say something, and they'd be like, right, but that's a sin. And I'm like, oh, right, that's a sin. Listen, like, I would say something like, oh, yeah, like, when I was in high school, I, like, kissed a girl during Truth or Dare, and they're like, did you repent for that? And I was like, no, like, did I have to? And they're like, yes, it's very much a sin. And I was like, I was in high school. They're like, it doesn't matter, you have to repent for that. And I was like, okay, like, so yeah, so it was not, I went from one toxic environment to another one, which was not ideal. But basically, like, I lived in this Christian boarding home, and I was really unhappy there. They did not believe that mental health problems existed, and I was very, very much struggling with mine at the time, like, very intensely struggling. And they were kind of just like, mental health, like, you just gotta pray it away, kind of thing. And I was like, well, I can't. So I ended up moving in with my friend's family, and like, they were a little bit more understanding of mental health, but I'm not going to reveal anything about her family because, again, it's not my personal story to tell. But there was a lot of trauma in their family related to homosexuality, so that, I'm just gonna leave it at that. But I knew that moving in with them, and so I was just kind of, like, living with them and stuff like that. And my friend and I ended up getting really close, and one night we kissed and we got caught. And I have not been kicked out of a house that fast before, ever. I went to church the next morning, and when I got home, they basically told me, like, get your stuff in garbage bags, you're leaving. Like, and it was simply because we kissed. And then for a good year afterward, they tried to forbid us to seeing each other anymore. Like, just even as friends, we couldn't even hang out, even though we were both adults. So it was very weird. I moved back home to my family. Again, I'm not going to say anything else about that because I feel like that is, like, already more personal than I should be sharing with her, but we don't talk anymore, so I'm sure she's not even going to see this, so that's fine. Yeah, we don't talk anymore, mainly because, you know, very different beliefs now. Like, she is still very much Republican Christian, very conservative, and I am not. So very different beliefs. I do think you can hang out with people who believe differently than you, but I don't think people should hang out if one person actually straight up does not support the rights of another person. So we don't hang out anymore. But yeah, so that's, like, as personal as I will get about that. But basically, we kissed, I got kicked out, I moved in with my family. So it was my whole family living in the same house. And then throughout that, I kind of, like, I started talking to my boss, and I was, like, still, like, trying to maintain this, like, Christian. When I broke up with my boyfriend, my mom actually said, is it because you're gay? And I was like, I can't be gay, I'm a Christian. And she was like, I think you can still be gay. And I was like, it's like, no, Mom, I can't be gay, I'm a Christian. Like, you know, like, I was like, no, you're wrong. So basically, I lived at home, and I started talking to my boss, and I was like, oh, like, I'm a Christian, and I'm, like, really, like, pure and all this stuff. And she was like, yeah, okay, whatever, like, kind of thing. She's like, good for you, but I'm not, and I will, like, not support anything that's, like, hate or anything like that. And I was kind of just, like, to hear that was, like, kind of like a breath of fresh air, because I literally, like, I was, like, not ever really a Christian. Like, I went through the process of being saved and baptized and all that stuff, but I didn't really ever understand what I was doing. I was just kind of like, these are the steps I'm supposed to be taking to wear this facade. Like, I don't believe in any of this. Like, not that I believed in some stuff, but I was like, I don't, like, believe that you have to get baptized or anything like that. And it was just, like, one of those things where I was like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm doing it because I want people to think I am a certain way. So, you know, I used it as, like, a facade. So kind of, like, having a conversation with my boss one day, my boss was like, yo, like, I'm very much a liberal, and I, like, believe everyone should have rights, and if you don't believe that, like, this might not be, like, the great fit for you as job wise. And it was kind of just, like, one of those, like, relief things where I was like, I think I can be myself here. And so my boss was actually the first person I came out to. And I was like, and she was like, asked me one day, she was like, so why did you leave where you were living? And I was like, I got kicked out for kissing a girl because I'm gay. And she was like, oh, cool. Like, and it was just like that. And I was like, okay, cool. So I started gaining a little bit more confidence and like coming out at work and stuff like that, which was really relieving to like have a work atmosphere that I could be myself in. And yeah, so then I ended up like starting to date girls and stuff like that, and eventually like pushed the rest of the people who were like anti me out, and I went on a date with a girl, and I kind of like went up to my mom and I was like, hey, I just want you to know I have a date on Friday. And she was like, oh, who with? And I was like, well, her name is. And she was like, oh, okay. I'm like, much more easier of a conversation than what we had in high school. But I also think my mom knew by then. Like, she was like, you dated someone for 5 years and then left them and then got kicked out randomly from a house for getting too close to a friend, because that's what I told them. I didn't tell them that I had kissed her. I told them that her parents thought we were too close. So yeah, I don't think my mom was dumb. I do think my dad did pass away not knowing that I was gay, because I never actually came out to him, but I feel like he kind of like knew in a way, like in his own sense. But anyway, so I had a couple girlfriends. I like went on a couple dates and stuff like that. I've never really had anything serious. I did date a girl last year that I was hoping would be serious, but it didn't turn out to be anything. But yeah, I do identify as a lesbian as far as that goes. But I did also come out as non-binary this past year. I have been using she, they pronouns for like 2 years now, I think. And it just got to the point where I was like, every time somebody like referred to me as she, I like felt angry inside. And I was just like, I don't know why I'm feeling this way. Like, I told them that's what they could call me, kind of thing. But like people would be like, oh, she's doing this, she's doing that. And every time I heard she, it would be like this like little like, I don't know, like goosebumps on my back, where I would just be like, I don't like that. I don't feel like that's me. And when I finally ended up cutting my hair is when I saw for like the first time, like I was like, I don't think I'm a girl. Like I was like, I think maybe I'm not a girl or a boy. Like I was like, I think I'm kind of like a weird gray zone. And I've always kind of thought that, like when I was a kid, I remember like I would like, like wear like super fitted shirts before I had boobs, and I would like wear super fitted shirts and then like also, like, this is probably TMI, but like stick a washcloth in my pants, and I'd be like, oh, that's what I'd look like as a boy. And I was really excited about that. And when I was in high school, we did Fiddler on the Roof, and I had to wear a beard and like tape down my breasts and stuff like that because I was playing a guy. And I was so excited. Like, I loved that outfit. And then I was wearing a hat one day, and my best friend at the time goes, you'd make a really pretty boy. And I was like, thanks. Like, it was like huge compliments to like be more of a masculine identification for me. And I still feel that way. Like, I definitely, like, people assume that I'm on like the they them spectrum, leaning closer to like a she they situation, but that is not true. I am like a hardcore they them, because like I think about like if I was leaning one way or another, I'm like, I don't know, because there are really like feminine aspects that I like, and then there are really masculine aspects that I like. But like honestly, I like masculine aspects more, but I am like a hardcore like in the middle they them, like not a he them, not a she them, like just a they them. So yes, the non-binary flag. But yeah, so when my mom passed away, I started using she they more often, like they more often than she, when I was introducing myself to people. And then this past year I came out officially as they them. I just don't know if my mom would have ever fully understood it, so it was nothing that I really like bothered to talk about a lot with her, but I don't think she would have been like against it. But it was just like one of those things that I don't think she would have understood, so she just wouldn't have followed it. And I've noticed like a lot of people don't follow my pronouns. Like, I also changed my work title from Miss Danny to Coach Danny, and people are really good about doing Coach Danny, but they will do Coach Danny with she, her pronouns, which I am slowly getting people to work on. Like, the kids are actually really good about it. It's more like, you know, people who have known me for a long time have a hard time switching that over. And my family has a hard time switching that over, which, like, they've known me my whole life as one way. So I try to give some grace because it's only been a few months that I've been out as non-binary. But I would say, like, mostly, like, my reason for coming out was just, like, that feeling of every time someone said she, I was just like, that's not me. That's not me. And when I cut my hair, I finally, like, looked in the mirror and I was like, that's me. Like, it was, like, one of those things where, like, I had long hair my whole life because I was a dancer. And I was like, it just doesn't look like me. It's just not me. Like, and when I cut my hair, I was like, it's me. And it was very exciting. So yeah, so it's not like a traumatizing journey. I definitely had some like trauma with like religion because, you know, I was told that I was sinful, and actually when I got out of being in that church situation and stuff like that and I moved back home with my family, I had a lot of people from the church message me telling me that it was like the devil, that someone texted me that I was no better than the snake in the Garden of Eden, which I was like, okay. Like, so yeah, so it was very traumatizing, like, as far as like I was getting religious people were hate criming me, which was awesome to deal with for just coming out. But you know, but yeah, it's not like a traumatizing story or anything. It's just like one of those things where like it's my journey and I am who I am now. And I actually went to my first Pride. That's where I got this flag. I didn't go to the Pride Parade because I was still a little too nervous to go to that, but I went to a drag show at a local nightclub, and it was Pride night there, and they gave out Pride flags, and I very, very eagerly went up and got my non-binary flag, even though I'm wicked shy at clubs. I don't talk to anyone. I kind of just like stand in the corner and let whoever I'm with do the talking for me. But this time I was very much like out of my shell and stuff like that, and I was just like, you know what, this is me now, and this is the community, and this is the people who respect and support me. So I was very happy to be there. So yeah, again, it's not like a huge traumatizing story. I would say like the thing that's the most frustrating right now is people not respecting my pronouns, but it's not even that they're not trying to respect it. It's just literally they've known me as one thing my whole life and now I'm something else. So it's like a hard switch for them, but also like I do get sick of reminding people like this is my pronoun, this is my name, like kind of thing. But as far as being like gay, I haven't had any issues with like my family that's like alive now. Like my parents are passed away, but like, you know, like my aunts and my brother and my sister-in-law and stuff, my nieces and nephew, they're all very supportive of me one day hopefully getting married to a woman, hopefully. Probably not, but hopefully. And as far as being non-binary, they're like respectful, they're just not great at the pronouns. So they're working on it. I would say, but like that's everybody in my life, even like the most like, I don't know, like the people who I feel like are the most like liberal in my life also struggle with doing my pronouns correctly. So, but yeah, that's just a little bit of my coming out journey, and a very brief one, even though this video is kind of long, but it's the summarized version and kind of a little bit more about why I lived with a guy for 5 years, because I get that question a lot. People are like, wait, you lived with a guy for 5 years? I thought you were gay. Yes, I just came out late in life. So yeah, that's my journey, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you guys want to message me any questions, or if you need like some love and support on your own journey, feel free to DM me on Instagram or message me wherever. I'm pretty good about talking to people, even though this ending is awkward. But yeah, like if you guys need like somebody to just be like a listening ear to your coming out story, or if you're somebody struggling, like you don't have anyone who can support you, I'm here for you. Same Z's with anyone who feels like they are in a situation where they need a place to go or someone to talk to because they need to go camping. I will say it like that. But their state no longer allows camping. If you're one of those people, please feel free to reach out to me, because I am in New York State, so it is still legal to camp here. I'm sure most of you are getting my gist by now. But it is still legal to do that here. And if you need a place to go or a place to stay, I'm in multiple groups for people who have uteruses. I mean tents, who need a place to camp. So if you are one of those people, please feel free to DM me and message me. I do still live in New York State and would be willing to help people out. So for real, like, don't hesitate to message me if you're in a situation where you need some help. So yeah, that is my coming out journey, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Wasn't that a great video? Clearly books make me very happy. Now you can make me happy too. Click the subscribe button to follow my channel. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you think I did good. And the notification bell will let you know when I post new content. Also, follow my Instagram for more book shenanigans.